Hi there. I wanted to share some tips about anxiety. Who doesn't have some form of anxiety at some point in time in their life? I recognize that some people have severe anxiety that's quite debilitating. And these tips may be helpful to you, they may not. But for me, I've experienced anxiety at some point in time in my life, here and there, especially coupled with stress. And I've learned several different tips that I wanted to share with all of you that you may find helpful. The first one is to get still and really check in with your body. What I like to do is just kind of close my eyes, take a minute, take a breath, and really check in. Why am I feeling anxious? Am I putting something off? Am I overwhelmed because I have so many different things going on in my life? And sometimes I think, especially as mothers and wives and all the different roles that we play, and this applies to men too, we forget that we do have some crazy, chaotic lives. And so sometimes it's kind of nice to take inventory, to kind of take stock and go through what would be causing me anxiety. And as we do that, sometimes it might be there's one thing that's kind of percolating there. It's like, okay, I really need to get this done. I need to focus on this. I need to get this done. And then anxiety levels calm down. With that, I notice for me, writing is a huge tool and a huge help. I'll make lists. I'll just kind of write, why am I feeling anxious? What do I have on my plate? What do I need to get done? And a lot of times just the act of writing, and for me, it's actually physically writing instead of typing on my phone. That will help a ton, just getting it out of my body, seeing the list, and then kind of going through and going, okay, let's go and get this done. So tip number 2 is breath. How often do we practice breath through yoga, or maybe if you're an athlete, breath plays a really huge part in our performance and our physical performance. But how often do we really do it actually for an energetic practice, or when we're feeling stress, when we're feeling anxiety? I've learned a few different breath techniques that I will share here, and I've also written about it in my blog, so you can go there and read about it as well. But one of them is, you might want to do this if you're not around people, just depends on your comfort level with whoever you're with. You take your thumb and your ring finger, and you're going to cover the one side of your nose, your nostril, with the thumb, and you're going to breathe in and fill your lungs, and exhale through the same nostril. And then you're going to cover the other nostril with your ring finger. So really you're going to look like this, where this one's not pressed down because you need to breathe through it. And then you breathe through the other nostril. And you're going to want to repeat that several times, at least 6 times. That alone will help to calm your nervous system, help calm anxiety. Even just doing one round, you'll feel your body take a breath and calm down. Another breathing exercise that I've learned that you can do anywhere. You can do it standing in line at the grocery store, or the DMV, or at the office, or in the middle of, you're with a group of people and you're feeling anxious. This is just as simple as taking a breath in for 4 seconds, hold at the top for 2, and then exhale for 6. And you're going to want to breathe in and out through your nose. That again, you're going to want to repeat a few rounds. I would suggest at least 6. Notice what feels good for you and what works. And I would be shocked if you don't notice a difference. One of the things too that you can go to is, I was listening to a podcast today with Matt Belair. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. And he was interviewing David Lee, and it was fascinating because they were talking about the different breath techniques that you can use actually to put you in a kind of, and I've learned this from I've heard about it from a few different people, so I love to practice this. But with our breath, we can actually put us in kind of an out-of-body sensation. And I know as he was talking, he said as you were building up your breath and doing it longer and longer, there's a level where you feel drunk for a minute, and then you shift and you kind of go out of body. So it's really interesting and fascinating to me that how powerful our breath is, and I feel how little we utilize it. It's grounding and actually being in nature. So if you have the opportunity, go out for a walk, and especially go out for a walk with bare feet. You can Google and research earthing, which is getting really in contact with the earth, with Mother Earth, with nature, and with your bare feet. There's some different studies that show that even with jet lag, going bare feet on the earth will help you kind of overcome jet lag. There's some different really cool things as far as earthing and getting bare feet in your bare feet with the earth. But in connection with that, taking a walk in nature, trying to focus on what is around you, the trees, focus on the leaves on the trees, focus on the details, focus on, is there wind that's going on? Are there birds around you? You know, what does the grass look like? Is there grass? Focusing on the little details that are around you while you're in nature is super helpful and really can get you present in the moment instead of worrying about things that are that really a lot of times we can't control, especially if there's things that are creating anxiety that we can't control. This really will help you come into the moment and be present. Get creative. Another thing that I've learned that has been super helpful, especially with stress levels and anxiety, I feel like a lot of times those go hand in hand, is get creative. I have always been creative through my life, but never done any kind of really artistic things. And a few years ago, I picked up painting. And the first painting that I did was ridiculous. It was horrible, but I had so much fun doing it. And I loved getting emotions out on the canvas, even though it looked crappy. I threw it away. But over the years, I've gotten better and better. One of the techniques that's really fun to use is pour painting, and you can find that online. It's with acrylic paints, and my kids do it with me. We do it all the time. It's super fun and creates really creative. And that's something that, especially if you don't feel like you're creative, it's a really good method to use that anybody can do and create some beautiful pieces of art. I know a lot of people that draw. Poetry is a great way to be creative. I mean, goodness sakes, anything, there's like the sky is the limit. So think about maybe an idea of something where you could express creativity and go and try that. So tip number 5 is our thoughts. The power of our thoughts is absolutely crazy. This is something that I've always been really passionate about and fascinated in the words that we tell ourselves a lot, because it's something that I feel like I battle with and I work on all the time. So with my clothing company, I actually put affirmations in the side of every piece of clothing that we make because it is that important to me. And the power of affirmations and positive words is extremely powerful. So when we start replacing those negative thoughts with powerful words, it's a really awesome tool. A book that I highly recommend, is the Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. In there, he talks a lot about the neural pathways and the habits, and especially the thought patterns that we create that builds these strong neural pathways in our brain that actually creates chemical reactions. So that's why habits can be so hard to break. And what I think is not talked about enough is that a lot of emotional habits, say drama, for example. Some people are addicted to drama because they've created the neural pathways so strong in our brains. So when we're feeling anxiety, taking a minute to notice our thoughts and be the observer of it. One of the other things that I've learned is not to be hard on myself when I'm noticing I'm having a negative thought, like I am a failure or whatever that thought is, not compounding it, not making it more difficult or more, not making it worse, but instead just being the observer, just noticing that thought and letting it pass, and instead replacing it with something positive. So when we're feeling anxiety, a lot of times we're feeling unsafe, we're feeling, there's a lot of different things that we will be feeling, and for everyone it's super unique. So some thoughts you can replace is, I am safe. I am loved. I am provided for. I am taken care of. The universe has my back. Thanks, Gabby Bernstein, for that one. These are different thoughts that you can replace in your mind instead of the negative thoughts that are playing. Again, just noticing and being the observer of our thoughts is really powerful. That alone is a very powerful tool. But replacing them with something positive is also extremely and more powerful, especially as we create new brain waves with those powerful and positive thoughts. I am safe. I am powerful. I am loved. Are you empathic? Especially with, I feel like the younger generation, there are so many children and youth and young adults and actually a lot of people I'm 38 years old. And I've been learning this over the last several years. But when you walk into a room, do you struggle being in crowds? Or do you feel drained when you're in group situations? A lot of times we're empathic and we don't recognize that we're actually taking on other emotions from other people and we don't realize it. That and alone can create anxiety because you're picking up on anybody else's stuff and you're bringing it in. There's a few different articles as far as kind of what to do with being an empath, and if you go to my blog, I've cited one there that is super useful, and it has 10 different tips as far as what to do if you are an empath. One that I have learned is really just, it's as simple as pretending like you have a bubble around you, a bubble that allows you to be authentic and still connect with others, but there's a barrier there to where you're not going to take on any of their energetic stuff. That, the more you practice it, even just in your mind's eye of just creating this bubble and this orb around you, it can be very powerful and very helpful. So again, recognizing, maybe doing some research. If you don't know what an empath is, go do some research on what an empath is and start practicing just putting this bubble around you. The more you practice it, the stronger it'll get and the easier it will get. Again, there's so many tools out there, so I highly recommend, if this is something that you think you may be, go and research and do some, just Google and do some research on your own. Again, I cited something in my blog, so you can check that out as well. So tip number 7, and this one I hope I can explain well enough. I wish I had somebody here that I could do it on. I'd make my husband come on here, but he wouldn't be too happy with me. And I actually just practiced this yesterday on someone that a good friend of mine that I was chatting with, that she felt stressed and overwhelmed, and I could see that she just was heavy. Is you get face to face with the person, and really I've done this with strangers. I've done it, and everyone's very comfortable. It's a really cool tool that I've learned that really helps to calm the nervous system. So you're going to get face to face with someone. You're going to stand, maybe this far apart, whatever is comfortable distance. You're going to ask if you can touch them. And if you're feeling anxiety, actually, this is for you. You can ask somebody to do this on you. You're going to, what you'll have them do, or what you can do on someone else, is you go down their earlobes or their ears like this, and you're going to come down 3 times, and you ask the person to breathe. Just take some slow breaths. It can be in through their nose and out through their mouth. It can be in and out of their nose. Whatever they're comfortable with, just have them breathe and slow down. You're going to do this 3 times on their ears and ending at their earlobes every time. So starting at the top and coming down. And again, just having them breathe. That alone, I promise you, everyone, it's like, holy cow, like just that is really, really powerful. But next you're going to have them turn around and you're going to brush down their spine, and you're going to go down and out. Let's see, down and out. So down their spine and kind of to their hips and out. And you're just, again, calming the nervous system. You're going to do that 3 times. And then I also like to brush off their shoulders and down their arms. And you do it 3 times. With this, if you're into energy at all, you want to shake it off. Make sure just intentionally you're not picking up any of their stuff, because sometimes that can happen. But yeah, you want to shake it off. If you're nervous or worried about that, go ahead and go wash your hands with cold water, just to make sure you don't pick up on any energy if it feels really stagnant. So that's tip number 7. That is really powerful and super beneficial. And I know, like, you should go have somebody do this on you. You can go do it on them first, and then you can do it, because it feels good no matter what state you're in. So those were 7 tips to help you with your anxiety. I would love to hear your comments below if you have any other exercises that you've used to help with anxiety, because I am sure there are so many different techniques and tips out there that would be useful for so many people, because I know anxiety can be really debilitating for a lot of us and really kind of consume our lives, or consume moments. And so comment below, share what you thought of this video, subscribe to my page. I hope you guys have a beautiful day.